Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today in our antique talk, we're going to discuss 5 steps to having a successful antique booth. Now, we've been in this business long enough to really feel like we have a good understanding of what makes a successful vendor and a unsuccessful vendor. So we're going to run through some steps that hopefully give you guys a good rundown on what you guys can do to, kind of help boost your sales or just have a successful experience in an antique store. So let's start it off with the first step. Now, this is kind of a pre-step. It's actually looking at your stuff you have and making sure you want to do an antique booth. Because there's people we've seen that they get grandma's old collection of items or grandma's estate, and they think, oh cool, I'll just get it at the antique store. I don't have to worry about it. They have to worry about it. And I've seen it go good and bad. I've seen it go where they do it and they get the itch, and then they keep buying more stuff and they make it a thing. But I've also seen it where they want to get rid of it so bad that they get rid of it or get rid of some of it or none of it, and then they're stuck with it, and now they're paying monthly fees to a store, and it just doesn't work out very well. So what you want to do is you want to look at what you have and see what you want to do with it, or what you want out of this, I guess would be the best way to put it. Do you want to have it be a nice hobby where you're starting to go to auctions and sales and buying stuff and filling your booth and making a little extra cash? Or are you looking just to get rid of stuff? Because that's usually the hard part, is if you're looking to just get rid of stuff and you're thinking it's a fast way to do it, it is not. A month goes by really fast, and before you know it, when those monthly dues are there and you're like, oh man, I've only sold $5 and my rent's $150, you're going to start going, and you're going to start losing out real fast in your money. So really sit back, look at what you have, and look what you want to do with your items. Do you want it to turn into a career, or not even a career, a hobby, or do you want it to just be something you want to get rid of? So really make sure you pick out which one and see if this is really the right choice for you, or maybe a garage sale or something would be a better idea. So that is the first big step you want to look at. So on to the next step. Step number 2, you want to find your store. Now this is really important because your store says pretty much everything about your items. Do they bring customers in? What are their hours? Are they only open 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 6 days a week, 7 days a week? Are they open at prime shopping hours? Are they closed whenever they want to be? Or, are they only closed for major holidays? So hours are really important, and location is really important, because if you live 2 hours away from this place, that's a 2-hour drive. You're going to want to get there because you want to get to your booth a couple times a month to freshen stuff up. So really look at the location as well, because that is a really big factor. And then also you want to look at what are the extras, pretty much extra fees. Some stores require you to work, so they'll require you to work 8 hours a month or 10 hours a month or 12 hours a month. Some people take commission on top of your rent. So not only do you pay the booth rent, but you'll pay a 5, 10, 15% commission on top of your sales. I mean, it can really dig into your profit really fast. Is advertising and utilities included? That's another big thing, because if you're paying an extra $10 a month for advertising, you got to make sure it's going to good advertising and making sure it's going to profit your small little booth, because at the end of the day, that booth is your store, and so you want to make sure you are making the most out of what you're doing at your store. So it's the same as an antique store owner, the same as a vendor owner, it's just on a smaller scale. So definitely really look into the location you're looking at. Is there a good customer flow? Is there good traffic? Just kind of, take your time and make sure you make that right choice, because that can really sink you, or make, sink or swim is what it's going to be. I mean, you can really, if you have really good stuff and pick a bad store, it can make you think that your stuff's not great, and that's probably not true. Or you can have really good or really bad stuff at a good store, and then you think the same thing. You really got to look at, what store is going to work out for you. So after that, you picked your store out, you're excited as can be. Now it comes pricing your items. So you pick the store out, you go back home, you have a booth number, you're ready to start tagging stuff, and you want to say, okay, what do I price this stuff at? Some people have a good price in mind, and a good idea of what they're looking to price stuff at, because they are, in the business, or they're collecting certain things, if they're selling off their collection. But if not, a really good source is eBay. Now, don't ever go by the eBay prices, because we're in a small town. So for example, if something sells for $300 on eBay, you're probably not going to get $300 in our shop. So always make sure you're looking at your area you're in too, because that's where pricing goes really big. Are you in a high income area, a low income area? It really affects where you have to price stuff at, because if you're in a low income area trying to price stuff at a high income area's price, you're not going to sell anything. And again, you're going to think it's your items, and it's not. You just got to really look at the area you're in. So really sit down and look at the prices. And if you go on eBay and you're in a low income area and hey man, I paid $10 for this, it sells for 100, I know I'm not going to get that 100 out of it, but I could probably put $60 on it and be happy. You know, you're still making 6 times your money, and you're also going forward, you know, play into the area, which is good. So pricing's really big. It's another thing. A lot of these things I'm going to say are going to make and break you, because it really will. You know, you don't want to overprice stuff, and you still want to price it where you're still making a good profit. We always go by the 50% margin. I'd like to double my money on everything I buy. Do I always double my money? Absolutely not. Do I sometimes quadruple my money? Yes, I do. So, I mean, you really got to look at it, you know, make sure you can, you know, price your items that are going to sell, but you're also going to make a really good profit out of it, so you can go out and keep buying more stuff. So, all right. That is step number 3. On to step number 4. Now, step number 4 is pretty much, you know, the setup of your booth. Now, what you want to do is you don't want to cram stuff in your booth. Again, this is your store, so this represents you. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're putting stuff in your booth in a certain look that is going to be pleasant to look at, easy to shop, and easy to see. Now, lighting is really big. You want to make sure there's, if you're in a perfectly lit area, then no lighting is not a big deal. But if you're in a corner, you want to make sure you have a light in there. You want to make sure you're highlighting certain things. So make sure you have good lighting in your booth. And then shelving. Shelving's great because it can really help you stack items up at the side of the wall or on the wall, and it really can make your booth a lot bigger, because at the end of the day, you want your booth packed full. Now, we always, again, in our area, we like to make sure we tell everybody to have a little bit of everything, because you're going to have a little bit of everybody come in the store. So what you want to do is you want to have the vintage, you want to have the antique, you want to have the kitchen stuff, you want to have the collectible stuff, you want to have the, you know, the vintage or the retro, the 70s, 80s, 90s. You want to have a little bit of the 90s stuff, because you're starting to see the young kids get into antiques as well. So you want to have a little bit of everything in your booth, and scattering that all through your booth, and make sure you're, you know, making sure everything is properly placed and properly displayed, because it's really big. It's a really big thing. You would not be, or how about this, you'd be surprised. Just because people come into a store doesn't mean they have to walk into your booth. We've had it many times where people look into a booth and walk by because it either looks messy or it looks, you know, crammed, stuff's on top of stuff. You don't want that. You want to make sure it's a great shopping experience for your customer, and then they're going to be coming back for more, because they know right here, this booth is perfect. They keep restocking stuff, they're always bringing new stuff in, and it's really easy to shop. So always look at the way you're setting up your booth as a customer. I look at it as a customer. Okay, I'm walking in, can I shop it easy? Does it look good? Does it smell good? Because there's a lot of times too, if you don't clean up your stuff and it's all dusty and dirty and nasty, people won't even look at it. They won't even buy it. It could be a gem under there. All you do is put a little elbow grease in, and I am a victim of that sometimes. I don't always, I don't always go out there and clean it all the way like I should probably, but I eat it sometimes. So like I said, you really want to look at all those things and a factor of how you're going to work your booth. You know, because again, if you want it to be a hobby, you want to put the most into it. We always tell everybody our biggest motto is you get out of it what you put into it. If I don't see you once every 4 months, you're probably going to owe me some money. If I see you a couple times a week, I'll probably be cutting you a big check, because you're in there, you're bringing new stuff in, you're taking the old stuff out. I mean, you're really making sure it looks really well. So that's something you really want to work at when you have a booth. Now, step number 5, in my opinion, the most important step. And now this step actually goes for not only vendors, but I've seen it with business owners. Now, this is big because I call it the after honeymoon phase. Now, the after honeymoon phase, everybody loves you and you're awesome. The marriage is great for that first 6 months. Oh my God, this is so awesome. You're the new kid on the block, especially in a vendor. You're the new person with the new stuff, the great prices, and all of a sudden, all your stuff's selling. You're like, oh, this is great. But then the honeymoon phase is over, and you're not the new person no more. And, sorry, I'm recording at the store today, so I want to make sure no one was coming in. But you're the new person at the store, and everybody's buying your stuff, but then after that, you're not the new person at the store. So what happens is you need to make sure you're always, like I said, coming in a couple times a month, refreshing your booth, making sure it looks good. And if you sell it, because you're going to sell a bunch of stuff at the beginning just because that's usually how new vendors come in. And if you sell a bunch of stuff, you have to make sure you're in to restock. That month goes by so fast. And most of the time you have another job, so I understand the busyness, but man, you really got to put the effort into your booth if you're going to do one, because if not, you're going to be wasting your money. Now, ways you can, after the honeymoon phase, the ways you can do it is applying a discount. Sometimes even putting 10-20% off a booth. My gosh, that is the biggest of deals. You'd be surprised how much a customer would love 10% off or 20% off. It really goes a long way. And always, like I said, it goes back to do what you're buying your items for. Making sure that, yeah, I'm trying to get double my money, if not more. You can really afford to put that 10-20% on there, because that's only going to help your sales in the end. Now, also too, is, like I said, is going back to the cleanliness of your booth. Making sure you're coming in, moving stuff from the bottom of the shelf to the top of the shelf. Sounds stupid. It's not. I've seen it so many times where something's been in the booth for 6 months and they just moved it, and all of a sudden it sold a week later. I mean, sometimes change in eye levels, because we have customers that come in weekly, and so they're seeing that same thing, and when they look at a booth and say, oh wow, this looks different, they came in and did something. You might have just changed the booth around and that's it, and all of a sudden, guess what? Some of those items are selling that you've been sitting on for 6 months. So really look at your booth and really come into the fact that it is a hobby, but it also can be a really a part-time job, pretty much. I mean, you know, you want to make sure you're doing everything possible to profit off your booth, because nobody wants to waste time just to pay money to an antique store. So those are our 5 steps to really a successful antique booth. And I'm sure there's some more, and there's some other, you know, tips in there, but hey, that's what we have a comment section for. Throw them in the comments what works for you guys, and maybe that'll help somebody else too. You know, we're all in this together. I mean, as an antique store owner, I want all my vendors to do great, because if I don't have vendors, I don't have a store. So, you know, we want everybody to do great. So if you have tips that I didn't say, throw them out there. Let's all hear them. I mean, that's the fun part of this job, is we're all working together. I mean, because we all want to be successful. Everybody wants to make extra money, so that's always the fun part. So I hope these kind of gave you guys some good ideas going forward on how to maybe do a couple things with your booth a little differently than you were doing before. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys want to like this video, great. You know, if you want to comment below, like I said, any of those tips you guys have that, you know, works well for your antique store and your booth, let's hear them. And then, of course, if you guys want to subscribe to the channel, videos have been, like I said, I want to show you guys real quick. This is what we're dealing with in Michigan right now. You guys see that? It is snowing right along out there. It is not ideal. There's only like one auction a week, and a lot of times they're cataloged auctions. I'm gonna have a video about that, how much I hate cataloged auctions. So that's all I'm getting right now. So you guys are gonna get a few videos of the antique talks. The holidays are done, so we're back in the mix with doing videos with auctions coming up in probably March or so. We got a lot of really good ones. So like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be in touch soon, and like always, stop on out and get your antique fix on M66. See you guys later.